G'day, fellas. Another day, another patch. Now, this is the first patch they've released for me on a Wednesday, so they've caught me a little bit by surprise, so I apologize for the delay in getting this one up online. From everything I've heard, this is an absolutely huge patch, so let's not muck around. Let's get straight into it. We're not going to bother reading through the little bits. Let's just get straight into the nitty-gritty. All right. Build Spotlight. Inaugural Event. Age 3 Inaugural Event. Day 1. Play a skirmish or multiplayer game as the Inca. Reward. An armored llama in a battle pose. Okay. Interesting. Oh. Alright. So there's 7 challenges for you to try and complete over the course of the next week. You'll need to come back each day to unlock and complete the next challenge in the series. Each you complete unlocks a new treasure, an exclusive profile icon for you to show off on the new profile advertise system. Oh baby, my Carolean's there. Look at that. You just know I need that Carolean. Look how war-torn this guy is. He looks like he's been through a lot. He's got an eye patch as well. Am I going to have to get an eye patch? Alright. Let's have a look at the challenges. Play a single or multiplayer game as the Inca. Win any single or multiplayer treaty game. Play a single or multiplayer game as the Swedes. Destroy 10 military ships in any game mode. Beginning with a nomad start, advance to the Imperial Age in any skirmish or multiplayer game. Revolt in any skirmish or multiplayer game. Alright, so these are all pretty simple. Oh, hold on. And day something. Sign into Xbox Live. Unlocks the Green Musketeer. Wait, oh yeah, you actually have to sign into Xbox Live if you want to unlock... Oh, that's how they've done... Okay, that's how they've done the... That's how they've done the avatars, probably through Xbox Live, tied it to that. Okay, I know a few people who don't want to sign into Xbox Live and they haven't made clans as a result. So, look, maybe that's going to shift it over. But yeah, look, all of these challenges seem very, very simple. A couple of people were hypothesizing that it could be a challenge, sort of like how Age of Empires 2 have got, where it's more of like a leaderboard challenge. This doesn't look like it. This sort of looks like a participation challenge. Everybody gets an avatar. You get an avatar, you get an avatar. But anyway, oh my lord. Look at that, Swedish home city. People are going to be inspecting my decks and be like, man, he's got Aurora Borealis in his kitchen. Oh, 36 new customization options. Man, alright, that's exciting. Visual casual rank on profile. Look at this. Welcome to CSGO. Look at that. Got the little guns and everything. I'm a gold Nova 2. A new badge has been added for all players that displays the number of casual games they've played and their win percent over the last 30 days. Oh, that's cool. Mouse over a player's name to view that player's performance in their casual games. When browsing the casual game lobby, the average rank of the match is displayed. Stars represent how many multiplayer matches the player has played. Chevrons represent the percentage of games that the player has won. Oh gosh. Profile avatars. Alright, looks like we've got a lot of the... I hope this isn't all. I really hope this isn't all. I'm actually a little bit scared that this is so short and that there's only 3 rows. But like, we're missing some really key ones here. We're missing the naturalist. But at least we've got this guy. I never really knew what he was. What is he? Is that a native scout or a villager? But he was always the trolliest one. At least I found that he was the trolliest one. Alright, yeah. Xbox Live is where you've got to do it. Okay. Alright, let's get down to the good stuff, the nitty-gritty. Stability and performance under game. Streamlined the multiplayer code. Oh, and just by the way, for anybody wondering what the music is in the background, that is the music that you will hear when you win the game as South Africa. So if you revolt to South Africa from either the Dutch or the British, this is the music that's going to play for you at the end of the game. Actually, I think it's for every civilization that revolts, now that I remember correctly. It's just that I never revolt as any other civilization, or to any other civilization, so it's just... Anyway, it's beautiful music. I really enjoy it, so we're going to be continuing listening to it for the remainder of the video. Try and give you something a little bit nicer in the background than just white noise. Well, it wouldn't be white noise, it'd just be no noise. Anyway, alright. Streamlined the multiplayer code where one player begins falling behind others in the match. This should improve the performance. So there was this little bug where someone would freeze and then the game would speed up and you'd go, oh my lord. This happened quite often to me. Like, it would happen just before a fight would break out. Okay, so it's great that that's fixed. Because if it happened before a fight broke out, often the fight would play out and there was nothing you could do. I think we infamously saw this happening in the Soldier versus H2O show match. So hopefully that's been fixed. All right. Fixed a prevalent crash triggered by the AI on the Silk Road and large Silk Road maps. Interesting. Fixed a crash in the Microsoft Store version of the game related to the license check failing. Fixed a bug which would cause the frame rate to limit itself to just below threshold. Fixed an out-of-sync error triggered when all players would select random personality in a multiplayer game. Fixed several out-of-sync errors related to model mismatches. Bonus, this fix also slightly improves the performance of the game. I feel like everything just the way the spaghetti code is, it just applies to everything. Fixed a hang in the particle system which would occur most often. Game animations are now purged from memory when exiting a match in order to prevent leaks. Hopefully this fixes the leaks that I've been having. About every 4th or 5th game I just need to restart my computer. I often found that this leak was actually responsible for this. If I didn't restart my computer or my game after about 5 or 6 games, this would begin happening to me. So I wonder if those two are connected. Fixed a memory corruption error that would cause the game to crash on exit. Implemented significant optimizations to the tech tree. Well, that's good. It needed optimization because it looked terrible, so hopefully it's been fixed up and looks a little bit nicer now. Implemented optimizations to the UI resource panel where certain string manipulations could tank the game's performance. Optimized legacy UI code which would cause significant slowdowns after resigning from a match. Yeah, I never got to experience that, yeah. Yeah. Can't say. Alright, let's move on to graphics. Added missing idle animations to the donkey. Debris and other violently detached pieces of the war junk would now disconnect and disappear from the ship model as intended. Fixed an animation hitch for the ship anchored in the Ottoman home city. Recovered banners which had gone missing when unlocked and adorned by the German cathedral in Berlin. The Portuguese Caçador unit now has a walk animation to prevent it from awkwardly sliding when set to defend an area. I really don't think we've got enough formation memes. We need more formation memes. I was watching a stream the other day and someone was playing against a Japanese player who'd put their explorer in the defend formation and it looked like he was sneaking everywhere. It was the funniest thing. Alright, UI. Adjusted the defeated chat group so it can only be used and read by players who were defeated or resigned from the game. That would make sense, otherwise they'd just be commenting on the status, like perhaps in a free-for-all. Updated Carnien to display the correct portrait in the Through the Andes Blood Ice Steel Act 3 scenario. The tooltip for units will now display the default hotkeys when using the default key bindings. Ranking tooltips will no longer truncate certain text in non-English language. Man, this is such a big patch. I can't believe the amount of changes. Holy moly. Alright. Corrected the Swede tech tree to display their Royal Guard units in the same manner as other civilizations, with the unit's common name first, but followed by the specific. And remove the armor plating upgrade from the technology trees of Native American civs. Okay, additional fixes to prevent Chinese War Academy from losing access to half of their technology buttons if Hill Fort was researched before receiving the Confucius gift shipment. That's interesting. Fixed a bug where certain disabled abilities would continue to display on the command panel during treaty games. Fixed paginal logic issues which prevented the correct display and navigation of the in-game leaderboards. Time for ranks 52 to 99 to shine, indeed. It's like, this is just, it's been a mystery who's been on this page. Updated the leaderboard to remove the need for scrolling before navigating to consecutive pages. The list now scales to fit the vertical space, which varies in length depending on the resolution of your screen. Alright, so now we've got a corrected tooltip for the TP, corrected description for the community plaza, updated the Inca stronghold tooltip to no longer erroneous imply that artillery can be garrisoned, Updated the tooltip for the surströmming card to better describe functionality of fish crates. Ships 2 fish crates, which provide more food over time. You can have up to 8 fish crates in play at any one time. Due to treaty balance. This, who was it? Is really, really good treaty player, and I always saw that his name was Swedish Fish Lamer. I don't know if that was actually like a thing that you could do in treaty, but I suspect that's what that's for. Updated the tooltip of the Swedish barrage card to better describe its effect. From a medium range, mortars can now target nearby enemy units. Well, hopefully what they've also done is actually indicated that there's a loss of range. I only read that there's a loss of range on the barrage card because somebody said that the card wasn't good anymore because it reduced the range of mortars. I hadn't actually seen that reflected on the tooltip. Updated the tooltip of the Indian Royal Green Jacket card to capture its full effect. The Native American Allies card, available to the Canadas following a resolution, now accurately describes which Native American groups will lend their support. Okay. Settings. Added a tooltip to explain the show game time option in the UI options menu. I like that we have to explain that. Added the ability to limit FPS in the graphic options menu. The allow conflict setting now must now be applied rather than being switched off or on via a radio button. I don't know what that would look like. Must now be applied rather than being switched. They just always turn allow conflicts on? Oh, I understand. Okay. No, I don't. I really don't. Anyway. Updated the display. It sounds like me talking to my girlfriend. I understand. I really don't. Updated the display of options sliders so that text appears on the top while the sliders appear on the bottom. This is to prevent the pointer from obscuring the numeric values. Gameplay. The naval stance hotkey no longer conflicts with move or military hotkey. Oh, I think they did do it. Did they just... I feel like they just always applied allow conflicts now. The villager gathering changes implemented to broaden the radius in which they seek out new resources, originally in Update 6159, have returned, though now include additional safeguards to prevent villagers from autonomously stealing the home city shipments of other players, or wandering into danger while hunting for distant gold mines and prey. Increase the radius in which settlers will seek out and collect their respective resources to prevent them from idling when uncollected resources are within view. Adjusted the villager search radius to prevent them from moving too far away from their general area in search of new resources. More work has been done to stop units getting stuck in structures and terrain. 7 different fixes have been implemented to prevent units and formations from getting stuck in collision boxes. So, for those of you unaware, Riot Coke. That's all I've got to say. Riot Coke. It is disgusting. Hold on, let's see if we can pull it up. Should be right here. Alright, let's take a look.
Dude, what the fuck is this? Like, seriously, what?
Oh, Riot Cook. Oh, man. Alright, so hopefully that fixes Riot Coke problem. It was pretty scary. Alright, an update to the campaign. We're not going to read that one. Alright, so now the important part. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Oh, delicious. Alright. General. Fixed a bug where ending relations with the British or Ottomans via the consulate would not properly remove the full benefits granted by the ally. Man, these Asian civs just getting insane benefits all game with that consular bug. Native embassies are now constructed by heroes instead of villagers. This prevents an issue where town centres would be pushed off the build menu for some villages when too many buildings were unlocked. That's an interesting change. I like that they went with that. Instead of solving that issue, they were just like, you know what? Fuck it. You can't build them anymore. I respect it, though. Sometimes that's the best way that you can solve a problem. adjusted the British allies available to the Chinese and Indian civilizations of the consulate as follows. Now grants a 7% HP bonus to units tagged as land military rather than multiple different categories, and fixed an issue where certain units would receive the bonus twice, such as shock infantry, and ensures that all eligible units, as indicated by the tooltip, now receive the bonus such as heroes, pets, and other previously overlooked groups. The effects of Japanese isolation have been adjusted accordingly. 2 surgeons has had the cost adjusted from 300 to 250. The healing reduced the healing rate from 20 down to 15. Please note that this is still plus 5% HP per second over the legacy game. Surgeon adjusted the cost from 300 to 225 coin. Surgeon experience bounties adjusted to account for the above changes. I didn't realize that surgeons were so strong that they required a nerf. Upgrades. Mission Fervor now probably applies to all healing units as intended. Fasting from the Sufi Mosque now probably improves all gathering rates as intended. So just some bug fixes really. Mustangs, Cheyenne, now improves all cavalry type units as intended. And Mustangs reduce the speed bonus from 10% to 5%. Probably a good idea. 10% is a huge amount, especially on a unit type that's already incredibly fast. And Mapuche Warrior Societies now properly improves native warrior bolus riders delivered by shipment. Okay. Oh, finally. We see it. We see it, boys. The Aztec buff. Added a new unit, the Eagle Scout. This is, oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps. You know, the Aztec were one of my favorite civilizations, and it was so painful not to be able to play them. So this might actually, incoming Aztecs. Aztec is the new bay. All right, let's read it. War Chief, rework the Korshik Ascension ability. A powerful area attack that inflicts great damage against Treasure Guardians and temporarily improves your War Chief's attack speed. War Chief can now train Eagle Scouts, so like the Spanish dogs. They have a build limit of 5 and take 7 seconds to train. Okay. Warrior Priest now deals triple damage to Treasure Guardians by default, since Korshik Ascension no longer applies to allied units. Hold on, please don't tell me that this was the experience. I don't know if this was the experience aura. Was this the experience aura? Because that... Jaguar Prowl Knight, Shock Infantry multiplier corrected from 2 to 1.6. Okay. Alright, my main concern is that I don't know if this is the experience aura. If this is the experience aura, this kind of... You know, we've cut off... We've given the Aztec a second leg by allowing them to train Eagle Knights. And then we've cut off their other leg by removing the XP bonus from their War Chief. But I don't know. I really can't comment. I should probably go in and test that. But it's we've got so much to discuss. I'm not sure if I've really got time. So we'll sort of come back to this one. I'll probably be doing an Aztec video quite soon. But look, this is a good change overall. It's interesting that the Warrior Priest now deals triple damage to Treasure Guardians by default. That is incredibly interesting. So I know that a lot of people like to build the War Pit, the Fire Pit. Oh, sorry, the Community Plaza, and they like to do ceremonies in the Community Plaza. But like, that's incredible. Deals triple damage to Treasure Guardians by default. Doesn't it already have incredibly high base damage? I remember getting my Settler attacked by one of these things at like 3 minutes 20. It had like 15 damage. I'm like, get out of here. Go dance on your fire pit, mate. What are you doing? So yeah, that's interesting. I'd be curious to see. All right, I think that like together with the Eagle Scouts, they might have like a tier 1 age one. All right, let's move on. The Dutch cards medicine. Fixed a bug where Dutch settlers would cost 85 coin minus 15 food after shipping the card, thus allowing them to add food to the stockpile whenever a settler was queued. That is awesome. Why did I not know about this bug? You could be like 15 times 12, so 180. You could have 180 times 3. That's 540 food at any given time just by queue. Oh, but that's a lot of coin you got to invest. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just not. It's probably not that good of a strategy. It's more of just a bug fix. Germans. Oh, Oh, that's a relief. The required experience per home city shipment has been corrected from 107% to 110% as intended. Oh, okay. So that's going to bring the Germans back down to a level where they're not the only thing you're playing against in ranked lobbies. Grenade launchers also now properly delivers 3 Ulans upon completion. Note that changes to the original card will automatically remove it from any deck upon launching the game. Remember to re-add this card to your deck before deploying them to the field. Okay. Alright, so now we've got some pretty big Inca changes by the look of it. Alright. So the Cancha House. The starting food trickle has increased from 0.5 to 0.6, and the benefit from Chincha Brewing, which increases the trickle food rate from Oh, so okay, so they've buffed not having Chincha Brewing, but they've nerfed having Chincha Brewing. So they've buffed not having it. Okay, I think this is a great change because Chincha Brewing is a little bit like schooners. It was just like, it was mandatory. If you wanted to house boom, you had to build, or you had to ship Chincha Brewing. It was like, there was no thinking about it. So at least now in the early game, you're going to have a bit of an option. I'm just curious though, because there's 13 canchas, so it's a little bit of a nerf overall. But I'm curious, just 13 and then it's 0.3. So this would work out to be about a 4 villager card, maybe a 5 villager card. It's not a huge buff. Before it was massive. It was like 7 to 8 villagers. But now it's yeah, okay, so it's reduced to a more reasonable level. So Bolus Warriors have been adjusted as follows. Population cost reduced, great. Increase their range, great. Now properly inflict 1.6 damage to rat and shields, good. Fixed an issue which prevented additional melee attack multipliers granted by the Collar support card from being displayed on the Bolus Warriors stat panel. Alright, look, just the fact that they've reduced the population and they've increased the range, these are just, like, these are wonderful buffs that the Inca really need. Their tier 2 units are really quite underused, so it's great that they're beginning to change them. The next thing that they're changing is the Mace Man. Mace Man have been adjusted as follows. Increase speed, great. And reduce the train time, wonderful. These are 2 further great changes. The Mace Man has a massive issue, it gets picked off. And even though you can increase his speed and get him up a little bit higher, he still just gets picked off way too easily. It's too easy to kite away from him, so that's a great change. And also the training time. They took forever to train, so even 7 seconds over the course of 55 down to 48, that's still a significant buff. And Chincha Rafts have been adjusted. Okay, so for anybody who knows about Chincha Rafts on the water, these things are monsters. These are menaces. Like, if the game goes late game and there's water, Inca just win the water. There's no 2 ways about it. So let's have a look and see what they've done to try and fix it. Increase the health by 25. Okay, so they've buffed them here. But reduced the health boost provided by the Chincha support card from 30 to 20%. Oh, that's sort of to compensate for... Well, 30% of 550, that's pretty big. 20% of 575. Okay, so that's a nerf. Reduce the distance of its ranged attack from 28 to 25. Okay. Reduce the range of its siege attack from 32 to 25. Okay. Alright, now they're looking a bit more reasonable. The range of both attacks now improves by +2 upon reaching the fortress and industrial edge. Wonderful. That is exactly what it needed. Because it was insane. You literally had 28 range Chincha Rafts in the second age. And you could just snipe down everything. It was like Portuguese on steroids. It was, yeah, it was really, really, really good. So that's wonderful. Fixed an issue that would cause ranged attacks to inflict more damage to land units than intended. Huh, I didn't know that. I just thought they were overpowered. Priestess has been adjusted as follows. Reduced population cost from 2 to 1, great change, while also reducing their community plaza work rate from 2 to 1.5. Okay, so it's reduced their strength, but it's made them more viable by not costing that population space. That's really good. All cards and politicians which deliver pretests now ship additional units to provide additional workers and conversion opportunities to your army. As an example, the 1 priestess card has been changed to 2 priestess, effectively representing an overall work rate improvement from 2 to 3, as well as +1 conversion ability over previous builds. Overall, these changes will improve the strength of early priestess booms, while making the conversion ability more useful in both the early and late game. Yeah. We really haven't seen much of the priestess. I think one of the primary issues is that it's so difficult to micro each individual conversion, because you need to. And the tooltip is, well, not the tooltip, but the icon that you have to click on, or even like key in with the hotkey, it's a little bit buggy. The first time you do it, it doesn't work. You got to like do it 2 or 3 times and then it will start working. Or at least that's what I've found. So it can be a bit difficult, but I think these might be a bit of an underused units, and especially seeing their population cost reduced down, I think we're going to start to see them a little bit more. I don't know whether priestesses have got the ability to heal. I'm sure they probably would, wouldn't they? They're a priestess. I guess the warrior priest, he couldn't heal. Could he? Oh man. I've been out of the game too long, especially the Aztec game. Alright, Kalankas have been adjusted from as follows. Build limit increased from 3 to 4. Experience bounty increased from 60 and kill bounty increased as well. And note that the population of garrison units is actually reduced by -1. It is not fully removed. Note that the population, okay. Yes. Okay, so one of the big things that changed over from the beta to the original game is that with the beta, if you put a unit inside the Kalanka, it removed its population completely. Whereas in the current version, if you put a unit in the Kalanka, it just removes 1 population from it. So even if you put a Mace Man in, that Mace Man will just go from 3 pop down to 2 pop. Whereas before, it was that it would go from 3 pop to 0 pop. So you just make a whole bunch of Mace Men, and they'd pop them all out, and you'd have 120 extra unit population. That's not the case anymore. And so as a result, it looks like they're just buffing the Kalanka here, giving it a bit more viability, because it means that you can have up to 40 population now. And I suspect that there's a card as well that increases the Kalanka's build limit. So I think that'll take it from 4 to 5. Probably to make it more viable, I reckon maybe take it up to 6. If you increase the build limit to 6, that way you could have 60 units potentially in the late game that are, or 60 extra pop space. Other Incan unit changes. Stronghold. Corrected the radius of the range ring to properly reflect the building's range. Chasqui. Fixed an issue which resulted in Chasqui training significantly faster than intended after sending the courier shipment. Thunderbolts of Ilapa moved from the fortress to the industrial age. Oh, wonderful. That's exactly what needed to happen. So Thunderbolts of Ilapa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, was the 4 light cannon shipment. This shipment was the big button rather. It was game changing. You literally got this shipment out and you could just change the outcome of the game immediately. 4 light cannons, their culverin, their mortars, their falconets, all in one unit. Insanely strong. So the fact that this has been moved to the industrial age, it's an overall nerf to the Inca, but it's a huge buff to other civilizations, because there's nothing more frustrating than, like, I remember that game that I played against Hazza and Kinesi, the 3v3. They got the light cannons out. And once the light cannons are out, that's it, because they can take out your culverins, they can take out your heavy cannons, they can take out your falconets, and you don't really have a response to them. They're very, very difficult. Like, obviously the response is culverin, but they can fight toe-to-toe with culverin. And they're incredibly good at dodging. Alright, let's take a look at the next change. Tatara Reed, so that's the dock. Change the amount of time, the increment, so free chincha rafts and fishing boats. So I think it wasn't necessarily underused, it was just that you didn't really see it often. You would just wait till 30 minutes and then you'd pop this and then you could challenge water immediately. The elite, champion, and legendary upgrades for jungle bowmen and bolus warriors no longer improve the range of their siege attack, only their range attack. Okay. Well, I guess that sort of just keeps them in line with other skirmisher units and dragoon units. Cool. That is, overall, those are incredibly good changes. We're going to see a lot more viability out of units like the bolus warriors. We're going to see builds start to come out for the Inca that don't just involve shipping Chicha Brewing as the second card. Mace Men probably going to be more viable. Chincha Rafts aren't going to be as ridiculous as they are now. And they get an overall buff as well in the Fortress and Industrial Age to their ranged attack by 1, though they do lose out on their siege attack. Pre-cess as well, going to be more viable because they've 1 less population spot. And yeah, and Kalankas as well. So look, I think this is overall, it's hard to tell whether this is an overall buff or nerf for Inca, just mainly because of Chincha Brewing, it's so strong. As well as Thunderbolts for Lapa. I think overall it would probably be a nerf. Just because those two things are so significant. But look, incredibly exciting. They're going to bring Inca out from just being a one-dimensional civilization, hopefully give it a bit more dimensions. The Indians increased their required experience per shipment from 106% to 107%. This change aims to slightly reduce the overall strength of the civilization to address the well above average win percentages in both ranked and casual matches. Really? That's actually incredibly good. Because one of the things that I notice with India is they can just do everything. You know, they put down the aggro, they take the whole trading post line, they get full market ups, they ship their 300 export, they get the 4 villages shipment from the Ottoman consulate. And they've maintained map control the whole time. They've built up, you know, units that they're so difficult to deal with. I really don't know how to deal with them. They're an incredibly versatile civilization. So it's great to see that they're targeting this, because it's definitely something that I've noticed, that India feels very, very difficult to battle. Adjusted the Ottoman consulate as follows. The line of sight bonus no longer applies to all non-naval units and buildings, with the exception of walls, as indicated by the tooltip. I think that's meant to be a now, and not non. The line of sight bonus now applies to all non-naval units and buildings, with the exception of walls. Yeah, okay. I don't like that they didn't include walls. I love wall laming. Alright, the Japanese fixed an issue that allowed Yamabushi and Consulate Yamabushi units to garrison inside buildings. Okay. The Lakota. I'm just going to take another sip of my drink, boys. It's we got Pepsi Max today. This video is sponsored by Pepsi Max. Oh yeah, that's good. War Chief. Increase the cooldown of the Berserk attack special ability from 45 to 55 seconds. I don't know what that is. The Berserk attack. So I can't really comment on the viability. Maybe Fitzborough, you can comment. What is that? Upgrades. We've made a significant change to the time it takes to advance ages using the messenger. Oh, they've nerfed them huge. This change is aimed at addressing a prevalent opening strategy that was contributing to the civilization having the highest win percentage out of all civs across all game sizes in both ranked and casual matches. We'll be monitoring the impact of this change. Okay. That's interesting. So the fact that they had the highest win percentage out of all civs, that indicates to me that what they're talking about is literally every game. So that means the bottom 50% of the ELO, the top 50% of the ELO, everything included. Now, there's always going to be more people at the bottom. And one of the things that we know about players when they're newer at the game, they don't really know how to defend early pressure. If they see units in their base, they just ring the town bell. And for those of you that do that, that's not the best thing to do. The best thing to do is to move your settlers from wherever they're being attacked and bring them towards your town center manually instead of hitting the town bell. Because if you hit the town bell, there's going to be a lot of settlers out there that aren't under any real threat at this point in time, and you're stopping them from gathering. So, but that's one of the most common things. And then it just really all sort of goes downhill from there, because at a higher level, people do understand how to deal with the Lakota. I don't think that they would have a particularly high win percentage at a higher level, like the Indians, say, for example. I'd be curious to see what the numbers are at each respective point in relation to ELO, but I don't feel like Lakota would be overwhelmingly high in its win percent. So that's still curious, though. I think overall this is a really good change, because the messenger was just ridiculous when you're aging up to the second age. You would often get age ups at about 3 minutes 10, 3 minutes 20, and then you'd have 4 Axe Riders in your base at about 4 minutes, 4 minutes 10, 4 minutes 20, depending on how competent the opponent was. So yeah, it's a good change. All right, the Ottomans. All cards which improve Janissaries now improve Nizam Fusiliers. Okay, that's a good change. Silk Road now improves the resource total of all crates, whereas it previously ignored new crates of 400 coin and 400 wood. The Nanban trade technology has been adjusted accordingly. This is a really good change, mainly just the Nizam Fusiliers. So Riot Coke, I can't believe you're getting 2 mentions in one video. Riot Coke did a really cool fast industrial with the Ottomans, and it relied on the Nizam Fusiliers. And one of the things I didn't like about the balance at the time, well, not the balance, but the state of the game, was that your Janissary upgrades didn't affect Nizam Fusiliers, because the Nizam Fusilier actually replaces the Janissary when you ship their unique church card. So when I say it replaces the Janissary, I should provide the caveat in that it provides it in home city shipments. So your 5 Janissary shipment becomes 5 Nizam Fusiliers. So it seemed only natural for any card that improves the Janissary to improve the Nizam Fusilier. So that's a really great change. Alright, Portuguese. Town Centre. Increase the build experience from 0 to 100. Okay, so that's a Portuguese buff. That's great. This change affects all civilizations, but is primarily aimed at improving Portuguese early game, which has contributed to a below average win rate, particularly in 1v1 matches. The free covered wagon granted by their civilization bonus will give them access to the experience early in the game. The Lakota Town Centre has been adjusted accordingly. That's great. That's really good. Ports are interesting. I would probably say they're the hardest civilization, just because of how many options that they've got and knowing what to do. But look, it's a welcome buff. This is going to bring Portuguese, at least hopefully speed them up, because they definitely did have difficulties on land maps especially, not so much on water maps. 2 changes have been made to the artillery hit point card for the purpose of treaty balance. Reduce the bonus hit points granted to artillery from 20% down to 15, and increase the bonus hit points from the explosive throwers from 20% to 30%. Okay. Spanish. Ooh. Do we see some nerfs coming in? We do. The Adventurer. Reduce the number of crossbowmen. Oh, I think just before we get onto the Spanish, just reiterating the importance of the Portuguese buff. Like this is really strong. Just this extra 100 experience means you're going to be getting your 3rd shipment faster. You're going to be getting your 4th shipment faster. Every subsequent shipment comes faster. And if you do a fast fortress, that's an extra 200 experience. So that's a really decent buff. So yeah, I think really well done for thinking outside the box on this one. Alright, so Spanish. Reduce the number of crossbowmen delivered from 9 to 8 with the Adventurer Politician. That's great. Spanish Gold now properly delivers a bonus 400 coin crate with all shipments. This addresses an issue when new cards, such as grenade launchers, and those accessible after a revolution would not benefit from the bonus. Interesting. That's cool. 7 Mapuche Bolus Warriors, or Bolus Riders. Bolus Riders can now be properly trained from military buildings after gaining access to this card following a Chilean revolution. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Oh. Be careful. Be careful, Age of Empires development team. You watch where you're walking. Alright, the Swedes. Units and buildings. Carolean now inflicts 1.3 damage to Rattan shields. That's a buff. The benefits of the platoon fire card have been adjusted accordingly. Hacker Pellet increased their HP from 230 to 240. Boys, we're seeing Swedish buffs. The following card changes were made for the purpose of treaty balance. Okay, let's give it a go. Oxenstierna reforms reduce the conversion rate of coin to food from 1.4 to 1.3. Finn horses. Oh, they nerf Finn horses. That's okay. Reduce the bonus HP from hussars granted from 30 to 25%. That's to be fair, that's fine. It was already pretty high. Barrage. Damage dealt by the mortar's barrage attack reduced from 50 to 40. Range of the mortar's barrage attack reduced from 32 to 30. Okay. So, yeah, Finn Horses was definitely seeing some play in Supremacy as well as Treaty. But I don't think that's a super duper significant nerf. Okay, I'm surprised. A lot of people have been saying that that Sweden deserved a nerf, but the developers obviously didn't think it was that way. To be honest, I think that there's bigger civilizations at the moment, like the Germans, who got the nerf stick. Ottomans, to be honest, the Ottomans probably need a nerf as well if Sweden's going to get one. But seeing as they didn't nerf the Ottomans, it's good to see that they didn't nerf Sweden. I think overall that's an incredibly... I think after this, balance is going to be in such a great spot. And another thing is like with Spanish, so that's all the civilization balance that's done. So like overall, one of the big strategies that we're seeing at the moment at the top of the ladder is the Spanish fast industrial. So this is just going to mean that, you know, going from 9 crossbows to 8 crossbows, it just makes it a little less potent. Also, they're fast fortress, obviously. Though typically when you fast fortress as Spain, you're not going to be taking the adventurer, you're not going to be taking the scout, or you'll be taking the pikeman. I only ever really saw people take the crossbows if they were going to do the fast industrial. So, yeah, really, really good balance changes so far. Revolutions. Updated the Carib Blowgunner, Haiti Revolution, and Mapuche Bolus Rider cards to clarify that the units become trainable upon acquisition of the cards. Okay. Chile. The Mapuche Bolus Rider card now properly enables the production of Mapuche Bolus Riders rather than elite Bolus Riders. Okay. Random maps. Added new treaty maps random set which contains the following maps: Andes Upper, Central Plain, Dakota, Deccan, Fertile Crescent, Gran Chaco, Mexico, Orinoco, ×2, so you get both of them, Ozarks, Pampa Sierra, and Punjab. These are all really, really good maps as well. Except for maybe Gran Chaco. Not a fan. Though I'm a trade route guy, so... The team game maps random set has been adjusted as following. Removed Andes Upper, Himalayas Upper, New England, Ozarks, Painted Desert, added Araucania. Not a fan of this map. This map's just so hard to see. I think it's mainly such a big map. Added Mexico. It's like when you're looking at the mini-map on this map, it's everywhere. Added Mexico, Mongolia, Patagonia, and Parallel Rivers. Parallel Rivers is an interesting one as well. The following maps have been temporarily removed from the random map set as to prevent them being selected from by the AI, which was not adequately prepared for the human challenge. Amazonia, Caribbean, Ceylon. When the AI training montage is complete, they will return to the battlegrounds for a rematch. Gonna need a montage. Alright, I'm just taking another sip. Map balance. Baja California. Fixed a bug in Nomad games. Okay. Fertile Crescent. Increased the size of the starting hunt by +2 apex. Or ibex. Fertile Crescent. The second hunt now consistently spawns 11 animals, whereas it previously varied between 11 and 12. Mongolia. Balanced out the creature spawns around the map. Herds in the south now contain more animals, while those in the north have been thinned. Punjab. Doubled the restriction radius around town centers, which prevents the construction of mango groves. Okay. I didn't realize that was a thing. Overall, this seems like really smart changes. Lobbies and matchmaking. Players can now invite clan members to their multiplayer match by right-clicking their name in the clan menu. Players will now be displayed as unknown until their name has loaded and passed the profanity filter check. Improve mod detection and matching for multiplayer games. Matching for multiplayer games, that's good. Because even today, like, we're seeing, you know, top 10 players getting ranked against people who have literally never played the game before. Though, to be fair, that's in team games. So, that's okay. At least. Yeah. Anyway, let's hope that the matching for multiplayer games has been addressed a little bit. Fixed an issue where an error message would unexpectedly display when inviting a player via a social context menu. And fixed an issue which prevented users from applying to join a clan. Added treaty games to the ranked game search. Currently there are 2 treaty options from which to choose, 20-minute and 40-minute treaty. This should provide a short and long treaty option without over-fragmenting the game search, thus ensuring... Exactly. So if you put every single option in there, it's going to fragment it immensely. People are going to be like, oh, I want to play 10-minute treaty, I want to play 40-minute treaty, I want to play 20, I want to play 90. So, yeah, I think this is a very reasonable medium. Alright, and we've got a whole bunch of AI changes. fixed an issue which resulted in AI players retreating too often during team games. Oh, this is just AI. I thought this one might have been like villager AI, but I think it's just AI. So I'm going to skip over this one. Localization. Localized voice lines have been added to Art of War, added to Art 2 Shadow. Legacy font system will now use the Blackfall font, okay. Scenario editor. Settlements can now be deleted without fuss in the scenario editor. Updated the object information panel to remove broken fields that are not populated or displayed by the game. And ongoing investigation. Out of sync errors. Continuing to monitor out of sync errors. That's good, because I actually played a game against a guy where he said, I defeated him and he said, ha ha ha, you know the worst part, you're not even going to get the win for this. And then he out of synced me. So do I do a bit of name and shaming? Mechalek was his name on Steam. I'm sure he'll change it now if he watches this video, but yeah, to anyone who knows him, he out of synced me quite badly. But it's only the one time I've experienced that out of sync error where someone said that they will do it. So anyway, stability and performance. As above, please reach out to us if you're experiencing stability or performance issues. There may be something about your particular setup that will help us improve the game for everyone. And stuck units. Though we hope we have had a significant impact on the number of areas where this happens, we'll be keeping a close eye on the reports to see if, when, and where it still occurs. If you catch this happening or occurring in your games, please create or add to a thread on the official forums with a note of the name of the map, the area, object, and screenshot highlighting exactly where the unit got stuck. Modding. The team is working to improve the way user-generated mods interact with the game, with the goal of making them less limiting and integrating more cleanly into your multiplayer matches. Watch for updated in future builds. Alright, this is a 10 out of 10 patch. Got a lot of content this patch. Incredibly exciting. Let's just do a quick review, a quick rundown. Obviously, you know, Sweden, the best civilization in the game. Get some home city customization. That's awesome. Visible casual rank on the profile. That's great. Any more indication as to a person's rank is always a good thing, especially when it differentiates between casual and ranked. Rather casual and competitive. Got the profile avatars. Got a huge amount of stability changes. Most importantly, we've seen that nerf to the Aztecs. Oh, sorry, buff to the Aztecs. We've seen the nerf to the Germans. We've seen a nerf to the Inca. The Indians have got nerfed as well. The Japanese have somewhat been fixed. Lakota have been nerfed. Portuguese are buffed. Spanish, they're... I wouldn't really call this much of a nerf. Like, obviously it's an objective nerf, but it doesn't really change a lot. And Swedes, which got pretty much, like, that's a buff there. I mean, it's a nerf to Finn horses, but yeah, overall, really, really healthy balance changes. This is really exciting stuff. So yeah, overall, I think this is an amazing patch. I'm just so impressed by the balance team. Like, seriously, they're just doing... They are so on point. I feel like they're incredibly in touch with the community. They know what the community wants, and they are actually implementing it. You know, the calls for Aztec buffs have been happening for a while now, and it's appreciable. Like, I can appreciate that it takes a while for them to make sure that they go through all their iterations and they perfect it. Because when you're changing something like that, especially at the higher echelons, it can result in huge changes overall in the game. I wouldn't be surprised by, like, with the introduction of this unit, that we see Aztec like immediately move to like a tier 1 civilization just based on that. And so that depends on the Korshik Ascension ability and exactly what that is. But it's something that they've got to be really careful with. So it's great that that these changes have been made, and looking incredibly forward to playing on this patch. So I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching.